Hello, my name is Sanjeev Singhal. I'm one of the owners here at the Baymont Inn & Suites in Statesboro, Georgia. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about the rates that we charge our guests. We've already had a sales training in which you learn how to sell the rooms to the guests by quoting amenities before the rate and building value for our customers. But today we're going to be talking about the actual rate that we quote our guests. We have one of the best deals in town. There's no doubt that our rooms are worth way more than what we sell them for, but we try to offer the best value for all of our customers. Before talking about the actual rates, we need to discuss the different room types at the hotel, as they have different rates based on the room type. Our standard rooms have either a king size or queen size bed. We also have king premium rooms that are larger rooms with a jetted tub in the bathroom. And we also have suites. The SNK1 is our studio suite, which is one large L-shaped room that has the jetted tub in the living room. And we have three of the ENK1s, which is our two-room suite, which has a large jetted tub and a full kitchen in the living area. We charge $5 extra for our king premiums, $15 extra for our studio suites, and $30 extra for our two-room suites. We also have a few extra charges for different services that we provide. We do charge $5 for the third and fourth adult, so all of our rates include up to 2 people, and we do charge $5 extra for the third and fourth person staying in the room. We do not charge a fee for rollaways or cribs, but we also do not ever promise them. So if somebody requests it, say we can put a request in, but it's not guaranteed, and then it's based on availability. We have a $20 per night fee for pets with $100 max per week. So anybody that has a pet under 10 pounds is allowed to stay with us, pay an extra $20 per night. We can now talk about the different rate codes at the hotel that are programmed into Opera. In talking about these different rates, I'm going to be discussing just the standard room type rate, and you have to remember that the king premiums, studio suites, and two-room suites have extra charges. The rack rate is the standard rate at the hotel. It is set at $69 per night. We also have the AAA, which is S3A, and the senior or AARP rate, which is SSR, set at 10% off the rack, which comes to $62.10. We do not require any kind of verification that they're a member of one of the clubs. Anybody basically asking for that 10% typically can. Government rate is also set at 10% off $62.10. Their codes are SGS and SGV. We also have different negotiated rate codes. Negotiated rates are rates that we have set up for different companies so that they can get the same rate every time they stay with us. We want to make sure that we put a company profile into Opera with the code at the end of the company name. The L codes, or local codes, are L49, L54, and L59. These rates are basically, like for instance on the L59, the 59 is the base rate, which is for our standard rooms, and then it goes up $5 for our king premium and $15 for our studio suites, and then $30 for our suites. Our F codes are the flat codes. The rates after the F, like for instance the F54, basically means that the $54 rate is flat for either our king or the 2 queen standard rooms, and also for our premium rooms. There's no upcharge for the premium rooms. We still do have the $15 upcharge for studio suites and the $30 upcharge for our 2-room suites on these codes. It is really important to program in these codes after the company name so that customers have a consistency on the rates that they're given. In negotiating our rates, L49 is our bottom price. We have made the decision to try our very best to not have anybody paying less than the $49 a night for our standard rooms. We do have some companies that have already been given lower, like a $45 rate or so forth, and we can still honor that for them. But going forward, L49 should be our lowest rate. If there is a customer with a lot of potential that wants to pay a little bit less, we can still do that, but I need to be the one that approves that. So any rates under $49 per night should be approved by myself. The only, of course, exception to that is employee rates, which are booked online through Wyndham.com, and employees get 40% off of our rack rate, which does come out to be lower than 49. Remember to always trust Opera when quoting rates. We never want to quote a rate without checking the Opera first for the date, because some discounts may be closed during a higher demand time. We may not be offering a AAA rate, or we may not be offering any other discounts to our guests during a time, so we want to make sure to check that first. Don't make up rates. We have a lot of different rate codes, and there's no reason to really make up any kind of rate that doesn't exist in the system. So in this case, if somebody says all I can afford is $50, instead of giving them 50, we can do 49, or we can push them to the 54 and try to get them to pay the few extra dollars. Companies get their rates except for special events. So even if the company's rate is not available in Opera, that is the one case where you can allow them to, for instance, get their L54 rate, as long as it's not one of our special events that have the over $100 a night charge. Our hotel has different rates during the weekdays and weekends, so we need to discuss these separately. During the week, Sunday through Thursday, we have an SR2 weekday special rate available. This is the rate that we'll basically be quoting to everybody. It's $59 plus tax for our standard rooms. We want to quote the rack rate, then the SR2 immediately, so that the guest knows that they're getting a deal. For instance, we'll be quoting them saying our standard rate is $69 plus tax, but right now we're running a weekday special at $59. On first resistance, we want to hold our rate. So if our customers say, do you have any AAA discounts, or do you have any better prices, we can tell them that we're already getting a special rate of $59. On the second resistance, if they still aren't really happy with the 59, then we may need to fade our rate to something lower. On the second resistance, we can immediately fade to L54. We can tell the customer that, sir, I have a corporate rate of $54 that I can offer you. If that's still not good enough for the customer and they don't decide to reserve it, then we just simply have to ask the customer, what rate are you used to paying? Then see if you can offer maybe the L49, or get the GM involved for customers that have high potential. You know, we don't mind giving out a $49 rate, but only for customers that are really, really insisting on paying such a low rate. The goal here is to get as high a rate as we can from every customer. Once you've negotiated the rate, whether it be L49, F59, L54, whatever it may be, we want to add the company name into the system if it's not already added, and add the code at the end of the name with some dashes around it. And we want to tell that customer that's with us that I can lock in this rate for your company so that you and everyone that works with you can get it every time they visit Statesboro. They can just ask for the company rate. They can just ask for the Verizon rate or the Walmart rate or whatever it may be. This line helps us get referrals and helps us grow our business. On the weekends, we have higher rates, and we typically stay a lot busier. So what we do during the weekends is we try to sell our rack rate first, which is $69. If we get resistance, though, we fade quicker on the first resistance to the 10% off. So if somebody says, do you have any AAA discounts? In this case, on the weekends, we will say, yes, sir, I can give you 10% off. And on the second resistance, we'll just ask the customer again for the rate they're looking for and see if we have something close to accommodate them. Remember to trust Opera. So if Opera doesn't have the L rates in there, then we might not want to offer it unless it's a company that might be staying during the week as well. Companies do get their rate. So even if it's not, like I said, in Opera open, we can still offer it to companies that have stayed with us before, unless it's a special event when the rates are over $100. SR2, the weekday rate, is also available for anybody that stays on Thursday or Sunday. So if somebody's coming in Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, the SR2 weekday $59 rate is also available in Opera. And if it's not looking like a sellout night, then we want to be more aggressive in fading rates if necessary. So basically, when we're busy, we may not want to discount quite as quick as when we're not busy. Our weekday specialists advertise on about 13 billboards throughout the routes on to Statesboro. On the billboard, it advertises $59 Sunday through Thursday. On the front desk, we've posted different scenarios because we do charge more than $59 for some of our room types. Basically, we should always have a room available at $59 on weekdays when somebody asks for it, even if we need to give them an upgraded room. You know, through the scenarios, we try to upsell the guest to a better room type, but in the end, if they want the $59 rate Sunday through Thursday, we're going to give it to them. Many times we have customers that are calling us that have already been on the internet looking at different rates, and we want to make sure that anybody that's looking at an online travel agency, otherwise known as OTA, books with us instead of booking with the website. The OTAs charge us 20 to 25% commission anytime they reserve rooms at our hotel. That's why the rates come out so low. Actually, the customers don't pay that low rate. They're paying pretty much a standard rate. So anytime they call us, we want to offer them the same rate or better so that they can book direct and avoid commissions. In talking with the customers, we can add their company name with a rate and inform them that they will have that rate every time. So even if it's a guest that's checking out that had an OTA reservation, we want to ask them, do they come to town often, and try to set them up with a company rate instead of having them book over and over again with Expedia or one of these websites. During high demand days and weekends, we have an L up rate, which is basically $10 above our rack rate. This rate is always closed out unless we get very busy and then management opens it up. If you see the L up rate, you will want to quote that rate first. So if somebody calls in and they ask you what's your rate for tonight, then you can say, well, our rate for tonight is $79 plus tax for one of our standard rooms. We can fade to rack, which is $69, or one of the 10% off rates, only if it's available in Opera. So if it doesn't show up in Opera, we'll try not to fade any, unless it's for one of our regular customers that get a certain rate. In Statesboro, there are many weekends that are special events in which we charge over $100 a night. For those that pull up an Opera under $110, we want the front desk to aggressively sell the room and fade if available in Opera. So if the rate's $109 and AAA is available at $99, you could offer either one of those rates through our selling process. You want to make sure to confirm the cancellation policy and get a credit card. There are no 4 p.m. or 6 p.m. holds allowed during the special event weekends. Cancellation policy will be standardly set at 21 days prior to arrival for any of these days over $100. So they can cancel only 4 weeks in advance, not 3. If the rate is set in Opera at over $110, we want all of those reservations to go basically through our website to eliminate any confusion and mistakes that could be made. So we would tell the guests that all of our reservations for that event are handled online at BaymontStatesboro.com. The GM is the only person allowed to make reservations for these dates outside of the internet. So if somebody doesn't want to go online, we can simply take a message for the general manager. I want to thank you for working at our front desk, and I want you to realize how important our front desk agents are to the operation of the hotel. Some of the key points that we have discussed in this video are that we charge extra on the weekends, that we need to add companies as much as possible with the rate codes next to the company names, that $49 is the lowest rate that we should be offering to our guests, and that we need to trust Opera. The rate codes that are allowed in Opera and the rates that are programmed in Opera are the rates that we should be giving out, and that we need to be aware of all of our special events and the policies booking rooms during the special events, particularly that $110 is the threshold for which you can book it on your own versus referring people to the internet. Again, thank you and happy selling.